Hello lovely people, I'm Catherine and welcome to this week's self-care journaling video. I had struggled to find something that I wanted to do this week, and then I think I've been so busy that I haven't really had time to think, if that makes sense. So what I am going to do is I thought I wanted to do a tree, because it's full eco-printing season for me, so hence my hands. Stained with iron water, still wearing off. So I thought I'd collage a tree, and then I remembered that thing that you see all over the internet pointing out that the word heart and the word earth shares the same letters. And then I was thinking about last week when I talked about the mycorrhizal networks under the woodland connecting the trees, the fungal networks. So I thought it might be kind of nice to do a tree with a heart at its roots, and the heart and the earth thing. So that's about as far as I've got in my thinking. So I'll show you the spread I've got to deal with. I've said before that it's getting increasingly challenging because the book's so big, and I don't think I'd do that again. But also here I've got this piece of coffee dyed or tea dyed paper and this piece of packaging paper, which is a different size. So I think I'll do my tree on this page, and then I'll put the words and something else, because that's not very pretty, on the other side. So I'm just clipping them so they lay somewhat flat. I think the first thing I'm going to do, I quite like this background. I think I'm just going to live with that bit of tape being a slightly different colour, but I'm not keen on this. I've got some gesso here, it's just white gesso, dusty white gesso, into which I've mixed some coffee granules. Smells okay. Quite some time ago. Since I've used it, so I'm just going to give it a stir. So I think I'm just going to gesso this page. I'll put something behind to protect the other page, and while that's drying I'll show you my other bits and pieces. So yeah, so this is just cheap white gesso, and I just sprinkle some instant coffee grounds into it just to knock the whiteness back a bit. It doesn't, like I said, it just smells of gesso. It's been like that for months and with no problem. But if you don't have instant coffee grounds, or you don't like the idea of that, then you can of course just use some paint or something if you want to change the colour of your gesso. Just give that a little wipe on the page. Got my big soft brush. Let's get something to put behind. Yeah, so I really, beyond that idea of a tree with a heart at its roots, I have no other notion of what I'm going to do, but I have pulled out some bits and bobs. Sorry for the rustly paper, but hopefully will guide me, but just a few. I'm somebody that doesn't like to have loads of stuff out when I'm working, whether I'm stitching or doing this. I just find it a bit overwhelming. So I just got a few bits and bobs. I can always, pause the video and go and riffle about and find more if I want to. So this is a bit boring to watch. I'll probably edit out me painting, so I'll stop talking and get this done and set it to one side, and then I'll be back to show you the other things I've got. Okay, so I've just said that. I did actually go over that tape as well, because full disclosure, I went onto it accidentally, and so then I thought, well, why don't I just paint over the whole thing? So I did it quite roughly. So I'm going to set that to one side. I'm running out of one sides to set things to. I'll just have a little move. And I'll show you what else I've pulled out. So for my heart, I've got some red tissue paper. I also had this quite near the top because this is what I was working with last week. So I've got some other bits out of my jelly prints that I've done in the past, and they're kind of autumnal leafy colours, I guess. So I just got a little selection of them. Then I got my watercolours out. My watercolours, which I haven't opened yet. These Cotman watercolours, they're lovely, but the box is really hard to open. Anyway, I'll do that off camera because they might fly everywhere. I've got my gold paint from Amy, always love that, and I've got a jar of water and some brushes over there, and the other thing I've got, I found the other day. If you've been here a little while, you might remember some time ago we made these inspired by Kelly at Book and Paper Arts, and these were my leftover ones. So these were some book page that I painted and splattered, and then I cut circles out of them, and then I inked the edges of them. But I thought these might be nice. I mean, I know they're not leaves, but just love circles and the earth, obviously. But maybe as leaves in my abstract collage tree. I don't know. Possibly. We'll see. And then seeing my circles and thinking about that, I thought of spirals. And I can remember way back at school making spirals out of paper. So I thought maybe we could have a go at that. So I've got this bit here. Hopefully I remember how to do it. So you just get your paper scissors. These are the paper scissors. And you can, if you want, draw a perfect circle, but you can also just cut one freehand. It doesn't really matter. Probably a bit big. I'll go a bit smaller. You don't want them too tiny. I wouldn't try to do it with my book page ones, because basically you get 2 spirals from one circle. So now I've got a vaguely round shape. And then you start cutting, and you have to bear in mind that you're going to cut again halfway the lines you cut. So you don't want to be less than maybe 3/4 of an inch, I would guess. Otherwise your spirals will be really tiny. So then you just turn with your non-dominant hand and cut with your dominant hand. And just turning. Being careful that nothing under there gets caught and, you know, gets cut through. I've done this for many years. All the way to the middle, say there. And you go back to the beginning. So there you've got a spiral, but it's, you know, it's a circle. So you need to split it. So you go back to the beginning and you cut. I'm going to actually put my mat under because it's dark against dark. Hope you could see well enough. And then you cut up the middle of what you've just cut. And if this turns out to be too small and fiddly, I'll do a bigger one. But and then you sort of cut halfway all the way around again, and this time you have to be a bit careful. You don't want to go chomping and cut right through the edge, obviously. So I'm approaching the middle. I've got this awkward little shape where I started. I'm just going to trim that a bit smoother while I see it. Where was I now? Back in where I was. Right. And then when you come into the middle, you just try and go right round. See, I'm going right round so that I make a little nice little shape in the middle. So there you see that fell off quite nicely. So I've got 2 spirals. Aren't they cool? There's one, there's 2. Obviously it's the outer one and the inner one. So I thought I'd make a few of those out of my other papers. So I'll go ahead and do that while my paint's drying, but I don't think you need to watch me do that several times. Hopefully you got the idea. So I'll go ahead and do that out of some more of my papers, and I might vary the sizes a little bit. And then I'll be back when I've made a few of those, okay? Okay, so I've done some spirals of different sizes, and these were really fiddly. It was the only real green I had, and it's on, I think it's newsprint paper. It's very fine. So I'm going to have fun gluing those down. And instead of using this red tissue paper, I pulled out this red jelly print, thinking I'd use that in my spiral. Actually, no, this isn't a jelly print. If you don't know about jelly printing, you can just paint on your paper. And this is what I've done on here. I've just painted, I think, with a roller, but a brush would work equally well. And then I've written with, I think that's just a black Sharpie, sort of mark making, and then a gold pen of some kind over the top. And you know, you can just make grungy papers, and that's just a bit of copy paper. So you don't have to have a jelly plate and do all that, you know, to get lovely papers. I think that's beautiful. That's just me mucking about. So you could do that, you know, if you want to create some interesting papers for your spirals, or you could just use, you know, magazines or whatever you've got. Yeah, I'll put that over there. Space is always, when I start doing mixed media, a bit of a challenge. So now I've got my spirals, I've got my heart. Oh, oh yeah, you know how to do a heart, don't you? You just, I just did it by folding, where is it? You see there, do you see? I just folded it, and I didn't put a sharp crease because I didn't want a sharp crease down the middle of my heart. But I just folded and then cut half a heart shape. But if you're happier drawing first, I find that I'm neater cutting than drawing, but that's the shape, you know, I'm sure you all know how to do that anyway. Right, so now I think I'm going to stick my heart in place and then draw my tree and then do my spirals later, so I'm going to put all those. Maybe it was more sensible to cut them later, but I was keen to do it. And we're here to have fun, aren't we? We're here to have fun and look after ourselves and make ourselves feel good. And I think this week it's obviously celebrating connections with nature, but it's mostly just having fun. My little circles, I'll put those with the spirals, and I get that away because I don't want to get glue on it. So I'm just simply going to, I think I'm going to use my medium for the spirals as well, just because it's not very wet, but it's strong, and I think with the glue you couldn't possibly glue stick the back of those spirals. It would be, yeah, they'll just tear. So I think you are better with a wet glue, really. So this is dry, I think. Dry enough. So I'm going to put I'm just going to put my clip back on it. Is it where you can see all of it? Yes. So yeah, I'm really liking the look of that against this colour of the paper. I'm going to put it right down at the bottom, I think. Sort of somewhere in the middle like that. I probably could do that with glue stick. Yeah, I could find my glue stick. I'll edit out me opening and closing drawers looking for my glue stick. It's not I don't feel that my setup is perfect yet. It's nearly a year since I've been here. I think I need to do some rearranging of stuff. So I'm always looking for things, and I find it irritating. Right, so I'm going to stick that on there, sort of nearly at the bottom. Plenty of room for my tree. That's neat enough. And I think I'm just going to get a pencil and draw. So I kind of, it's going to chime 12, so I'll go on, otherwise I'll be here for a long time. I want to kind of have my roots coming around the heart a little bit, and then the trunk coming up with branches. So I'll start just outside my heart. It's pencil, so I can always rub it out. I'm going to have quite a stocky little tree, I think, because that's what fits on my page. And I want to leave room for my crown, because that's where I want to put all my spirals. So something like that, but then I'm going to turn these down here into roots that kind of envelop the heart somewhat. Something like that. I'm going to paint over it so I can fine tune. Paint or with my crayons or something. I think that's okay. So then my branches, I'm going to have just very simple bifurcating. I love that word. Nothing too complicated, because I can't draw anything too complicated. I think we need to come more like that. And also it's very difficult to draw without getting my head in your way. And I know you don't mind my head in the way, but if my head was in the way for the whole video, I don't think that would be very helpful. So yeah, it's very, let's have it coming down here a bit more. Very rough and ready. think I'm going to make some of these different lengths and bifurcate them again, just because I like saying bifurcate. That's looking better, isn't it? More or less better. On the back of a galloping horse. Okay, I'm happy enough with that. It's just the background, and I don't think I'm going to use my paints actually. I think I'm going to just use my colouring pencils, because all I want to do is make the trunk brown. I've got my Stabilo aqua colours, but I'll just use them dry. So I'm just going to colour in. I don't think you need to watch me colouring in. I might mix the shades of brown. Very rough and ready. The start is going to be the spirals and the circles. So I'll colour my trunk in and I'll be back when I've done that. Okay, I'm happy with that. I just used 2 shades of colouring pencils. I went over it in the medium brown and then I went back in with the dark brown, and I just made these little sort of spiky gestural movements, and I made the roots go a bit more organic. So now I need to glue on my spirals and circles, and I think I'm just gonna do it as I go along, really. I don't know, could lay them all out I suppose. I'm gonna have to overlap, and some of them I might make a bit smaller if they're a bit big. Maybe, so I can fit more of them on. Just do that. I seem to be auditioning them. Because I think I'm going to overlap here and there. Sorry for the noisy van going past. Yeah, no, I'm going to... if I lay them all on, I'm going to have to take them all off to glue, so it's pointless. So the spirals, I'm going to have to put matte medium where I'm going to put them, I think. And I hope it doesn't shift the watercolour pencil too much. Just push them down with the brush. Seems to be going okay. Let's do a circle here. The circles I can put the glue on the circle itself, maybe. I don't know. It's a long time since I've done this kind of page with you, or at all, because I haven't done it on my own either. Kind of, because it's not something I'm super confident and experienced at, this mixed media stuff. I feel myself being all, you know, tentative. Just put some there. I'm just noticing it, you know, I'm not getting super stressed about it. This is a cheap paintbrush. The brush I did have for my matte medium I did not wash one day, and yes, you know what happened to that. So I'm just putting them on where I think, really. And I was thinking while I was doing the colouring in, you know, about what's self-care about this, Catherine, apart from, I mean, creativity is always self-care, isn't it? So, you know, but I'm not gonna every week sit here doing whatever, something creative, and just calling it self-care. I try to, for myself as well as hopefully to make it more interesting for you. Sorry, dog barking. Got the windows open, it's warm again here. Yeah, you know, for myself as well, because I've committed to this year of journaling for self-care. To be careful with this because it's that newsprint and it's quite delicate. It's gone a bit wrinkly, but I think it's okay. What was I saying? I wish you could answer me, you know, live. Well, I could do lives, I suppose, but I don't know. I'm resisting that for some reason. I don't know why. Anyway, Yeah, but it's this idea of the connection with the earth, I think, that I keep banging on about, because I know we don't all feel it, particularly if we live in more urban environments maybe, but the quote that isn't attributed to anybody, it's probably occurred to lots of different people all at the same time, about earth and heart having the same letters. I think, to paraphrase, the most common version of it is, once you realise earth and heart have the same letters, everything makes sense. Well, it would be nice if everything did make sense to everybody and, you know, everybody got it, but unfortunately that's not the case, is it? Again, without getting on my soapbox. But as this is self-care, I think for me personally, feeling connected to the earth is one of these really bright ones maybe. It just helps me feel better. I mean, you know, and I know I'm not the only one, just to go into nature. There's the other thing about the beach, isn't there? I think something like the answer might not be at the beach, but there's no harm in looking. Something, words to that effect. See, I'm covering up most of my drawing, so that's why I wasn't really stressing about it too much. Let's do a spiral next. Yeah, well, I could say the same thing about the woods, you know, and I guess you'll all have your favourite kinds of places to go to. That's the noisy van going back again. You know, the answer might not be in the woods, but there's no harm in looking. That one up there, maybe. But just the act of doing this pretty simple thing, I mean, you know, this is not a piece of art by any stretch of the imagination, well, not fine art anyway, but it's a piece of creativity. Going back to playgroup, probably, where I first learnt to make these paper spirals, I guess many of us did, and colouring with crayons rather than getting my fancy watercolours out. That all makes you, you know, it's your inner child, isn't it? It's getting back to that, and it's the same how children respond to being on the beach or in the woods or whatever. Most children. There are some little horrors, as we all know. Just that feeling of connection. Put that on there. But it's, yeah, I'm warming up to this now. I need to get back into it, because yeah, we did the moon stitching, which was a completely different thing, and then I did the journaling pages using the moon stitching, and I've done some stitch journaling as well, which, you know, is much more my thing, and I might do more of that. But yeah, I'm really liking the way the circles and the spirals are kind of intertwining with each other. That one's a bit big. I want to make it smaller, or use a smaller one maybe baby. Maybe I like the look of the circles behind them as well. Let's put that little circle in there. I'm just thinking aloud, but you know. Otherwise all you hear is me gluing. But I love these book page circles. I don't want that to be, I don't like things in line. Let's try and get them a little bit staggered. And where's my spiral? I was going to put that one. Yeah, I'm sorry if my head keeps coming in, but you know, I need to see what I'm doing. No, not like that, Catherine. Just put it over the top. Yeah, when we get creative, it's good to challenge our inner child, isn't it? Channel, not challenge. Don't challenge your inner child. Channel your inner child. Encourage your inner child. That's something up here, I think. And in the beginning, when I paused to go and do my colouring in, when I finished my colouring in, I was laying them on and wondering where I was going to put them, you know, before I came back to you. And then I said to myself, nope, just do it as you go, you know, trust the process. And for me, that is much harder with this than it is with stitching, because I got a lot less experience. I think I might just want one more spiral somewhere here, because I've got 6 and I don't like even numbers. I don't want that great big one right over the top. Maybe I'll just cut it a bit smaller, just get that middle bit of it. I love these little spirals. I think they're great. A bit more glue there. Especially with the circles. I'll put glue up there. There we go. Stick. So I'm just going to lift that up to have a look at it. Yep, I think I'm happy with that, all things considered. So my little circles. I wonder if it'd be nice to have some falling down. Just maybe do that. Get everything back where what do you think? Just maybe a couple. Oh, they're a bit big. I see I've gone back to just stick them on, Catherine. Maybe not that big one, maybe just the smaller ones. And of course, if you wanted to do this and you didn't like the look of spirals and circles, you could absolutely just do leaf shapes. That'll be equally cool. And you could write words in there if you wanted to. I've seen that done before, like a tree of gratitude, so you could write in your tree things you were grateful for. I don't think I'm going to do that to mine. I think I'm just going to let the circles and the spirals and the idea of the cycle of nature and the cycle of life and all that. And then the heart, where at the earth side, so the earth would be here, wouldn't it, the line of the earth, and this would be underground, so that's what that's representing. So my voice went all deep and gravelly. Sorry. Just put one on there, put one on the heart. I don't know. No, I think I stop there. It's knowing when to stop sometimes, isn't it? So I'm going to just let that all dry, and I'll go and find some. I don't know how I'm going to put my words on there yet. So while that's drying, I'll go and sort that out in my mind, and then I'm going to come back with some gold paint and maybe some gold pens and just do some more twiddling about. But I'll put that aside to dry, so I'll pause you for a minute. You won't notice, or you'll just notice the little blurry thing. I'll see you in no time at all. Okay, so I've sorted my words out. I'll show you those in a minute. I printed them and inked them, but I'll show you them in a minute. But while I was doing that, I've inked the edge of this page while I had the dobber from Maria in my hand. Thank you, Maria. So I just inked around the edge just to make it look more... It's amazing how you can just put a bit of gesso and ink on a bit of packaging paper and it looks straight away better, in my opinion. And I found this stencil, which I think someone sent me, a little pack of stencils some time ago. And I haven't used it yet, but they're vaguely spirally shaped, so I thought I might, with some of my gold from Amy, I've got this bristle brush, work it a bit. You have to work this gold paint a bit, but once it gets going, it's yummy. Don't want it too wet for stenciling, but not in any regular way, just... It is a bit wet still. Just as a background really, just as a bit of something something. I don't think they're even going to look like spirals. Sorry for my arm, but obviously I need to hold the stencil still. That's alright. I'm just trying to lift it straight off rather than bending it. You know, twisting it and smearing my paint. So it's just little suggestions of texture is all it is. Obviously if you like the look of more precise stencils, then you do that. I wasn't going to do it at all, I just saw this with the vaguely spirals on it as I was looking for the ink. So I thought, well, why not? Just need to hold it up to look. I think that's okay, and I think I'll put the words somewhere in this area here. So I'll get a different brush for my gold. I'll clean that stencil off in a minute. Let's get this. So hopefully I'm not moving it where you can't see. I try not to put my arm in what I've just done. I should have something down to protect my desk really, but it's my desk and I'm not really bothered. So I thought now I'll just do some little gestural, almost spiral shapes, just like that, over my tree, just in the gold. So it's probably better if I hold it further back, it just makes you a bit looser with it. Not even really spirals, they're just curves, just to get some gold on there, try and get them going in different directions. And I feel that I'm being a bit quieter today than maybe I usually am. I'm absolutely fine, don't worry about me. I'm just a bit tired. I've had a bit of a few days one way or another. And yeah, I'm just a bit tired. I might just put some little bits of gold down on here as well. They've already got gold on the heart. Just because. That'll do, pig. Maybe a little bit more down it. I always say that'll do, or that's it, and then carry on. It's just apparently a thing I do, which I've noticed since making these videos, because then I watch myself back. Most of us don't watch ourselves back in life, do we? But you do this, and then you watch yourself back, and you realise things about yourself that you'd never realised before. Obviously that's wet, so I'm going to have to be careful, but I've got my gold gel pen. So that's going to show up there. Might just do some more gold squiggles. Maybe I'll do some gold squiggles on the little circles as well. It's not really, is it running? Is it flowing? Nothing to write on, there's some paper. It's over my arm, it is flowing. I'll do some little circles in gold just in between the wet paint. We're just fiddling about now really, aren't we? When I say we, I mean me. But I wonder if you're the same, if you like to just, when you've done the main body of it, just go in and fiddle about. I think that's okay. Maybe I'll just, see, there we go again. I think that's okay, and then she goes on. It doesn't really work on there. I've got this other cheap gold pen. And that works better. Just to give a bit more definition to the trunk. Down into there a bit. That'll do, pig. Now, see, there we go again. That'll do, pig. And she goes on. Just felt like doing a bit of gold around the edge of these. This pen is not the best. It never has been really. Put the hand where nothing's going to run. just roughly. I'm not being precise, as you probably can't see because of my hand, but just so that they don't just look plonked on, although they were just plonked on, just to fit them into the landscape, and then into the, not the landscape, the background. Dread coming into the picture. I think I might do some squiggles down here as well, just random squiggles, maybe up into the tree, sort of, I don't know, is it suggesting movement? Just so, to tie them in, otherwise they're just out there on their own, is my thinking. There we go. Now we'll stop. Now we'll stop and stick our words on. Hopefully that's dry now. It's dry pretty quick. So I've got my words, which I stamped. So I stamped the words heart and earth in capitals. And then the rest I stamped in lowercase. So I didn't do the thing about realising and all that. I just said, pointed out that they have the same letters, and then you can draw your own conclusions. Whoops. So, just arrange them a bit. Something like that. I wrapped my brush up in a damp cloth and I didn't do it quickly enough. Honestly, look after your brushes, Catherine. Be careful as well, because I used the non-archival ink on the edges. I don't think that's straight. Whoops, sorry. Oops, straight enough. Oh dear. See how tired I am? I nearly tipped all those on the floor. Let's do it over here. I know I'm putting them back in a different place, but there we go. So there we go. There is my heart tree, my tree heart, and earth and heart have the same letters. I very much enjoyed doing the spirals and everything, and using some more of those lovely circles. So yeah, well, I hope you have a go at something similar if you feel so inclined, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on this thing. I'm in two minds about it. I love the notion, but the pedantic librarian-ish person in me says, yeah, it's just an anagram. I'm sorry. Just being real here. Just being not real, honest. But, you know, you can make connections, can't you? I guess that's what it's about if I'm not being flippant. So, yeah, I'm interested to hear your response to that. But I think there is a serious message in that, isn't there, about loving the earth. Obviously, it's our home. And that was what made me think of doing the tree and the thing after we did the mycelium last week. So there we go. I'm going to stop wittering now because I'm really tired and I'm talking nonsense even more than usual. Also, all I'm going to say is thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to you joining me next time for more journaling tales. Lots of love. Bye bye. Kisses. Nearly forgot the kisses. I'm so tired. Bye bye.